Alright, friends, it's T and I'm back, friends, with a new video. And we're gonna do a video today, man, on you know who? More plates, more dates, broski. Yes, I haven't done a video on him in fucking ages, man. So I'm gonna do a video that he just popped up right now. I'm gonna do a reaction video to the gear gym lifting slave himself, fitness slave, gear slave, drug slave, whatever you want to call him, roid slave, whatever. He's a slave to all these things. We're going to do a reaction video to More Plates, More Dates. More Plates, More Dates says, creatine will raise your natty genetic limit for muscle growth. I have news for you. It doesn't work. It's people buy it and it raises it by 5 pounds of water. That's about it. There's a reason why it doesn't work, okay? It itself does not build muscles, okay? But creatine, it's found in meat. It's found in food, meat, whatever. And so it's got the required amount. What your body can do with it, the supplement, it doesn't build muscles. I'm sorry. I'll explain this in the video as we go by.
The effects of creatine supplementation on satellite cells and myonuclei. So a lot of people know
Its effects on fucking myonuclei and satellite cells. Well, we know we have a myonuclear domain size limit where MND size has reached the ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond, where the satellite cell can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. Now, here's the question. If the satellite cell is beyond where it could donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth because it reached a ceiling limit during what? During hypertrophic process when you first came in the gym, because a unique feature of untrained muscles is that eccentric exercise, trained muscle, eccentric exercise, a unique feature of untrained muscles, they get stiff and sore the next day due to what? Muscle damage. And as we know in myonuclei precedes hypertrophy are not lost on detraining, NCBI, that map, untrained, first training, satellite cell fusion, and then hypertrophy. Yes. And then it reaches a ceiling limit because once those myoblasts fuse with the fiber, that's it. The nuclei are postmitotic. They do not split and divide and increase in number. Not even if you swing your arms, not even the heaviest weight in the gym will get those myonuclei to split and divide. The only way you can get them, you can get a donation of those nuclei, is that you have to get a new adaptation in muscle damage. And muscle adapts by protecting itself from any more damage. That's its job. And without that damage, you're not gonna augment. You're not going to do anything with this fucking creatine to augment or whatever to increase these stupid satellite cells or these stupid nuclei. Okay, dude? To support further muscle growth. You're adapted. Here's the thing. All of you are adapted in the gym. You don't know how to get any more adaptations because you're dumb. You're all stupid, okay? You don't know anything about bodybuilding. And so you go out as an adapted lifter and they have all these fucking supplements and all you do is squeeze water into your muscle. Fucking sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, fucking creatine, water, this, that. That is not an adaptation. In order to grow real fucking myofibrillar growth and become and enhance yourself physically, you need to build more fucking myofibrillars and you need a donation of these nuclei because without him, you cannot synthesize protein, so you cannot support further muscle growth. End of story, dude.
of the banking of myonuclei via exposure to anabolics. I feel like it's probably...
No, not even anabolics do that either. They say the same thing. I've done a educational video on it. Steroids do not build muscles. Fucking satellite cells build muscles, man. And this doofus, he knows that. He knows that. Look, molecules do not build muscles. I'm not saying that they do not help stimulate protein synthesis when they bind with the myocytic androgen receptor. But when they bind with the myocytic androgen receptor, what they do is they give you maximum force production. They increase that force production, you lifting a heavy weight. That's the whole point. That's why you're taking it, right? To enhance your performance. How do you enhance your performance? It has to bind somewhere, so it binds with the myocytic androgen receptor. But the myocytic androgen receptor, even though it binds with it, it's not responsible for that mass. Now, what's responsible for the mass? See what I mean? The nuclei, the satellite cells, they're responsible in these full stat myostatin because they regulate that domain. They regulate it. They regulate transcription, how big that cell can get. But you can get more cells by activating the satellite cell. Now, he's not easy to activate. He ain't so easy. Trust me, not so easy.
The most common context by which people explore this area of research and how there could be.
Look, I've explained this before. If you're in positive nitrogen balance, I'm not talking about vegan people, fake vegans, okay? I'm talking about people, you, as a human carnivore, you eat meat. So when you're in positive nitrogen balance, eating tons and tons of your natural diet, fish, seafood, protein, whatever, eating a lot of it, you'll be in an anabolic growth state, okay? What does that mean? I'll explain what being anabolic means in a minute. So you need to be in positive nitrogen balance. That's number one. That's how you do it. Number two, that makes you anabolic. What does that mean? It means that it will convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myostatic androgen receptor. So if you've converted the catabolic hormone to an androgen and it's not competing with all your other hormones, and it binds with the myostatic androgen receptor, then what is going to happen to you? You are going to exude more force production. You will be able to squeeze out more adaptations if you can increase more of that natural strength. Well, I would say, artificial strength. By inducing it being in an anabolic growth state, you physically can be in an anabolic growth state. I'm not saying you can look like people on steroids. Steroids are cosmetic, okay? I'm talking about your hormones in your body. They're injecting plant hormones, which are changing their makeup temporarily, binding with the receptor. But your hormones, you can still be anabolic. You can be anabolic growth state, whatever. That doesn't mean that you're going to keep growing just because you're anabolic. You'll need these nuclei to keep growing. But here's the problem. If you eat carbohydrates, which is an artificial diet, artificial food, drugs called carbohydrates, they will load in your muscle in the form of glycogen. And in science, we call that sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. It's a type of artificial muscle growth. Get it? So you may mistake you getting bigger, but you're not going to get physically stronger, but you got better at lifting a weight because you artificially induced some strength temporarily, because it can go away. But if you grow more myofibrillars, that strength, that motor unit, those nuclei, they physically enhance you. They're permanent. See the difference? Just like it says in science. It says these nuclei are permanent, and if they're permanent, they enhance you.
Permanent accrual over time via
No, does not. There's no permanent accrual over time if you take the powders.
enhanced anabolic stimulation, as well as the induction of satellite cell proliferation, but through things like
steroids, they don't do that. That's why they all shrink. If they actually built real contractile proteins and sarcomeres and everything in these nuclei and everything, when they go off the steroids, they wouldn't lose it. It would be there because it's physical. You could touch it. You could feel it. But something that's fluidic, like glycogen, will just be peed out.
growth hormone utilization. These are all areas
He's lying to you. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
that are seen as like performance enhancing vectors.
No, it doesn't. If you activate the satellite cells in an adaptation and you take steroids, then yeah, it could help augment or something, proliferate, get more of them or something. Something could happen because there's something more going on there. It's a possibility, but I really doubt you're going to get that much more in it. But it only happens in an adaptation, and you're all tapped out because you don't know how to get more of these adaptations. That's your problem.
Via drugs. What a lot of people don't know is that creatine supplementation may also augment the training-induced increase in the number of satellite cells and myonuclei.
Yeah, it could do that, but only in an adaptation. That's the problem.
In human skeletal muscle, which would increase the growth potential of those fibers. So there are numerous things that increase the.
Yeah, but he's going to tell you, well, you're going to overload yourself with creatine magically, and it's going to do that. No, you still need and it's not even going to happen in an adaptation. It's not going to happen. It just doesn't. Whatever. I don't care what he says, man. I know what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. Creatine supplementation augments the increase in satellite cells, myonuclei number in human skeletal muscle, induced by what? Induced by strength training. But what do they mean by induced strength training? They don't mean strength training. You just lifted a heavy weight. They are talking about in an adaptation. It has to happen in an adaptation. I can prove it, man, and everything. So they tell you some stuff here in combination. It amplifies training-induced increased satellite cell number and myonucleate concentration. And But it happens because I'll show you why. Because creatine helps activate satellite cells in your muscles. They help activate. But what activates satellite cells? Here it comes, which help the micro tears heal. The micro tears heal. So what activates the satellite cells? Muscle damage. See that? Now it says here increase anabolic hormones. So there's an increase in anabolic hormones. Well, there's an increase in anabolic hormones when there's micro tears. If there's micro tears, your body will increase them automatically. What the fuck? So and then it says here anabolic hormones contribute to growth and tissue repair. Yeah. These anabolic hormones in your body, they contribute to growth and tissue repair. If there's something to repair. But if there's nothing to repair, then there's nothing to grow. Get it? No. You understand me? Look, I'm going to do this one more time for people that are watching this from outside.
According to NCBI, while concentric contractions initiate movements, eccentric contractions slow or stop them. A unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the day afterwards because of damage to muscle fibers.
That's right. Untrained muscles become stiff and sore next day due to muscle damage. Not trained muscles. They never say trained muscles become damaged. Hold on a second.
According to Sports Medicine, Springer Open, exercise-induced muscle damage, EIMD, is a transient phenomenon caused by unaccustomed, damaging exercise and is characterized by structural damage to myofibers and secondary inflammation resulting from leukocyte infiltration into the damaged tissues. 1, 2, 3.
Wow. So untrained, unaccustomed. Yes, that's what causes damage. Are you unaccustomed? Are you untrained? Now here's another one. Wait.
According to NCBI, if a person is unaccustomed to a specific exercise or if it is of greater than normal intensity or duration, all forms of exercise can cause damage and pain. However, exercise-induced muscle damage, EIMD, is most often caused by high-intensity eccentric exercise. Prosk and Morgan, 2001.
That's right. Providing you're unaccustomed to it. Now, I like to find another one called unfamiliar.
According to Physiopedia, exercise-induced muscle damage, EIMD arises when muscles become damaged after exercise. This often occurs when an athlete participates in a new or unfamiliar exercise, when learning new techniques, or experiences an increase in the volume or intensity of exercise.
So if you're a trained athlete, if you're a trained person like it says here, this often occurs when an athlete participates in what? They said athlete. They didn't say untrained athlete. They said a trained athlete. When unfamiliar means untrained. If you're unfamiliar with that exercise, you're untrained. So if I was to test somebody that's an athlete, I would have to test them doing an exercise, a new exercise that they're what? Untrained. So I get a bunch of untrained what? People, right? They're untrained. They never did that exercise before. Does that mean they're not an athlete, dude? You see what I mean? Boy, people are stupid out there. You can be untrained and be an athlete and never have done that exercise because I'm doing a study to see what the outcome will be. You understand me? In that particular exercise. That's all I'm doing because I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid. So I go, hey, I want you to do 70 reps per set or 3 sets, whatever. And then come back the following week. And then the following week, let's find out where we're going to get here or what's going to happen in this exercise, whatever. So I want it to be new or unfamiliar. Hello. So now we have new, unfamiliar, unaccustomed, and untrained muscles get what? Get this damage. And we know that the intensity and duration and the vigorous thing of the exercise will get you this damage. So new techniques. So when learning new techniques or experiences, an increase in volume or intensity of that exercise. That volume, it's mostly intensity and duration. You can say there's some volume there for sure, but remember, providing that it's new or unfamiliar, unaccustomed, and untrained. Get it? That will wake up the satellite cell, and then you can augment it with these drugs or whatever you want to do with them, but they're not going to do very much there. It is astronomically hard to get an adaptation in muscle to grow more muscle fibers because it's based on hyperplasia. The hyperplasia part is where you get more of these nuclei, and once they fuse, these myoblasts, these nuclei, once they fuse, they don't split and divide anymore, dude. Even though you keep going to the gym, waving your arms up and down in the air, they're postmitotic. They don't split and divide and increase the number. See what I mean? And you don't just get an endless supply just because you went in there one time and you got this damage and then you think it's just the flow of it's going to keep coming on forever. No. Once they fuse, that's it. It reaches a ceiling limit during hypertrophic process. Get it, dude? Like it says in M&D size, limit.
Density of satellite cells and actual banking up of myonuclei to increase your threshold.
Yeah. Like everybody's doing that. That's why they're taking steroids and faking it with cosmetics. Because if it was true, everybody would be doing it. Everybody.
Of kind of like muscle memory set point and anything that can help enhance that.
Muscle memory set point, that's not a muscle memory. What that is you still have nuclei there, but they're somewhat permanent. And so you probably went away for a long time and maybe you deflated. I don't know what happened to you because you only got it once because you didn't move for more adaptations. You didn't get any more repair and remodeling, okay, in your muscles. So you got it one time and then you went away and then you came back and they synthesized protein and then you got a little bit puffy again. Okay, so what?
To a notable degree with no deleterious effects, also notable, is absolutely worth consideration. So like creatine having an effect on this, potentially as well, like very, very notable in my opinion. The effects of creatine supplementation on myostatin levels. This is another very interesting one. Myostatin is a protein that is produced and released by myocytes and acts.
Yeah, because follistatin, myostatin regulate that domain. They regulate transcription of that cell, how big that cell can get. But when the satellite cell is activated, they cannot occupy the same space. You understand me? And that's when the satellite cell donates its nuclei because they're used to fuse to the muscle fibers to fix them. They repair them during repair and remodeling. They remodel the muscles bigger and stronger. So now they're adapted by, how do they adapt? By not getting damaged anymore, by protecting from any more damage. Now they're resilient from further assaults when you come into the gym. So you are a good lifting slave now. Get it? A gym slave. Yay! Hooray! You should clap now. You're a gym slave. You're protected from any more damage, so you're not getting any more myofibrillar growth. But you can get some fake sarcoplasmic and fake phony strength, like chemical strength.
Muscle cells to inhibit muscle growth. Animals either lacking myostatin or treated with substances that block the activity of myostatin have significantly more muscle mass. I'm sure you've seen at this point.
Yeah, if that muscle cell continuously gets bigger, you'll get weak. That's the whole point. You have to get more cells and then they get bigger. But they have a transcription, a size, how big they can get. They're not like fat cells. Fat cells can get astronomically massive. But guess what? Muscle cells, they can't just keep getting massive, dude.
Countless images of Belgian blues, whippets, myostatin knockout.
But the sarcoplasm around it can get astronomically massive through glycogen. an energy source. You can load energy in the muscle, but you can't load protein as energy into the muscle. Get it? Yeah, man.
Mice, follistatin treated mice. There are a lot of examples at this point. Still incredibly impressive and shocking to this day. They are essentially the Mr. Olympias of their whatever animal they are. And it's wild that the genetic predisposition, regardless of diet, training, stimulus, etc., like these animals essentially are predisposed to being able to grow more via this supposed, limiter being a non-factor or a significantly inhibited and attenuated factor via drug-induced means.
Yo, man, here we go with the scientific talk. The via da woo da 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 da. This guy's like a voodoo guy, man.
Literature has also shown that individuals who have mutations in both copies of the myostatin gene have a significantly...
Yeah, but nobody does, because if they did, they would be like the Belgian blue, okay? And they'd be weak.
...more muscle mass and are stronger than normal. Expectedly...
Stronger than normal? None of those animals are stronger than normal. If they said they were weak in science, they were weak. You become weak.
Pharmaceutical pipeline, myostatin...
No, more myofibrillars will make you stronger, but that mass keep exponentially getting bigger makes you weak. You ever see a fat guy walking around? He looks nasty, really fat. Those fat cells when they blow up.
Inhibitors are something that's being evaluated pretty thoroughly right now. There's numerous pharma companies that have myostatin inhibitors as a target with the goal of developing more efficacious treatments for an array of catabolic conditions. However, to date, these compounds have not achieved success, even among those seeking out gene therapy in adulthood. Like, there are individuals that are going to great lengths to try and either enhance the endogenous production of follistatin or literally inject follistatin itself, or try and inhibit myostatin directly. I delve into this in greater detail in one of my podcasts with Peter Attia. Highly recommend you check it out to see the stance on myostatin inhibition and current therapies around its targeting. To be clear, I don't think myostatin inhibition doesn't work. I just have yet to see any effective therapies play out in humans.
Okay.
And from what I've seen, the foundations being laid for the benefits of this targeting would be seen in utero. So, for example, the acceleration of muscle growth in Belgian blues is due primarily to physiological changes in the animal's muscle fibers from hypertrophy to a hyperplasia mode of growth, and this occurs in the fetus and results in a calf being born with 2 times the number of muscle fibers as a calf without a myostatin gene mutation.
Yeah, they manipulated the animal and they bred it that way, okay?
So, as a preface, obviously creatine is not... I highly doubt the majority of creatine's effects, or even a small amount, are via this myostatin inhibiting property.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do anything. Creatine doesn't do anything but put 5 pounds of water in your muscle. That's it.
It may have no effect whatsoever. However, I don't know if this finding is reproduced widely.
It's a bunk. The product is bunk. It's great for enhancing performance. Yeah, energy and whatever and all that. Giving you some phony lifts or something, some phony strength, adding to the phony strength. Some stuff, but other than that, there's not a lot going on there.
Either, but I feel like I would be remiss.
But it has nothing to do with an adaptation in myofibrillar growth. An adaptation in myofibrillar growth still has to be done the way it's supposed to be done in the natural world. That's all. It has to be damaged. If it's not damaged, forget it.
Didn't mention that creatine supplementation in conjunction with resistance training.
No adaptation, zero growth.
Has shown to lead to greater decreases in serum myostatin than resistance training alone. So that's another cool attribute of creatine that a lot of people...
What did he say here? Effects of oral creatine and resistance training on serum myostatin. What about it? You eat meat, it's got fucking creatine in it. It's got IGF-1 in it. It has creatine IGF-1. It's in beef. And so what? And what about it? If there's nothing for it to repair and remodel, then there's no adaptation, there's no growth. Bye.
Aren't aware of is that it can actually inhibit myostatin as well, potentially, which...
Okay, it inhibits myostatin. No, it's highly regulated, highly controlled. Highly controlled. You're not going to inhibit myostatin, dude, in humans.
a fully grown adult, is that actually going to make a huge difference? I don't know for sure, but it is worth noting, especially because
I like where he says myostatin is a catabolic regulator of skeletal muscle mass. Well, guess what? It is a catabolic regulator. Yeah. You want to know how to be anabolic? It's really simple. I just told you, be in positive nitrogen balance, and now you're anabolic. And guess what? It'll convert the catabolic hormone to an androgen, so it doesn't have to compete with the myocytic androgen receptor. Does that mean that your muscles are going to exponentially keep getting bigger? No, absolutely not. Because there's a transcription. Each cell has a transcription. How big that cell can get, that muscle cell. It can't get any bigger. So what do you need to do? You need to get more cells. Okay, how do you get more cells? What's a unique feature of untrained muscles, eccentric exercise, untrained muscles? They get stiff and sore the next day due to what? Muscle damage. Okay. Are you getting those clinical signs in damage like in DOMS part 1? Are you getting these clinical signs every time you come to the gym? And here's the thing. You can't get those signs every time you come to the gym because it's protected from any more damage. Look, I'll explain this to you really quick in this video before it ends. So, are you getting this? So this is DOMS part 1. This is just one thing. There's many things. There's many when it comes to eccentric exercise. But anyways, so DOMS part 1. And so one thing, they tell you unfamiliar forms of exercise. Okay. So clinical signs include reduced force capacities, increased painful restriction of movement, stiffness, swelling, and dysfunction of adjacent joints. Yeah. Okay, what is this exactly? Okay, this is DOMS. The primary mechanism is currently considered to be the ultrastructural damage of muscle cells due to what? Unfamiliar sporting activities or eccentric exercise, which leads to further protein degradation, apoptosis, local inflammatory response. So if you're not getting these clinical signs in this, the damage to the cells, then you're not getting anything to grow. Yeah. And I don't know what else to say there in that. I was going to talk about one more thing. Yeah. Basically muscle damage, broski. So yeah. I don't know. I thought there was one more I was going to bring up here. I just forgot. I forgot what it was. I was going to say. So yeah, this is DOM. So you need this to build muscles. Without it, forget it, bro. There's nothing going on there. You're wasting your time. Yeah. I don't know what else to bring up here. I was thinking about another one. I can't remember now offhand. Oh yeah, the repeated bout effect. Why you're not getting any more damage. Hold on.
According to PubMed, the repeated bout effect refers to the adaptation whereby a single bout of eccentric exercise protects against muscle damage from subsequent eccentric bouts.
Yeah, that's what it does. It's right here. You can read it in here. It's an adaptation process. It'll tell you here. The repeated bout effect refers to the adaptation whereby a single bout of eccentric exercise protects against muscle from damage from subsequent eccentric bouts. How does it do that exactly? See what I mean? Why? So if it's protected from any more damage because it's based on an adaptation process, then you're not building any more muscles. You're not building muscles. Get it, dude, ski? Because there's no damage. There's nothing to build. Like it said in DOMS previously, what I brought up there in DOMS. Yeah. This section here in DOMS. Remember? Anyways, I read it to you. It was in DOMS. You can read it for yourself. I'm going to go now. This is the end of this video.
Creatine is safe, well tolerated, highly effective, and
it is resilient from further assaults when it repairs and remodels a lot stronger. Very, very astronomically hard to damage muscles.
You would probably be using it anyways. Now there's this other fringe upside potentially, and might have some contributing role to the effects you actually get on performance, muscle size, etc.
No, it has nothing. Nothing whatsoever. Nothing. Steroids are enhanced performing drugs. They're not muscle building drugs. They're enhanced performing.
Down the line, a lot of people
The satellite cell builds muscles.
weren't aware that it had an impact on myostatin at all.
When it comes to remodeling your bath.
Anyways, friends, tell me what you think about that. Like, subscribe, support the channel. I'll see you in the next video, my friend. I gotta go. I hope that helped. I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it didn't. I'm not really sure.
An impact on myostatin at all.
See you in the next one. Ciao.